Hey, hey, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. A minute here. Tim, good to see you.
Good morning.
Top of the morning. Anybody still have kids that believe in the Easter Bunny? Good for you. The rest of you are horrible parents.
The kids that what?
Believe in the Easter Bunny still.
Oh,
Yeah, they're 25 and 30.
That's good. I
as
believe.
long as the Easter bunny brings chocolate, they believe.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Brian, I have a question for you.
go.
I'm going to be driving, getting ready to go to a real estate appointment, but I have a long drive. I'm going to mute myself so I can just listen, okay?
Okay.
Don't call on me.
Well, I happen to know hands-free works both ways. You can talk. So
Oh, blew my cover.
I have a good topic, I think. Well, it's been good for the other people that I've given to this week. So
Right.
I'll give you a little lead up. We did our summit, which is our small mastermind scenario that we do versus the big laser and light show. And I'm always amazed in the beginning. Brian essentially does for a better word, a little bit of a mindset scenario. And regardless of with a mix, whether it be a single producer or like this particular one, we had somebody that has 3,600 agents there, and so even that person versus the new person, the what people take personally, for the better word that I have, from this mindset conversation. So I've got a question for you, and this is, you guys do need to contribute. Natalie, I do know you're going to be in your car, but you can contribute in your head and go through this exercise regardless. Okay. So here's the question. And I don't want an immediate answer. I want you to think about it for a second. Okay. Do you treat the job that you have as a sales job or a business? I want you to ponder that for a minute. Sales job or a business? And then we're gonna dissect this a little bit. So Kelly, you're or I wait till you see. Okay, Kelly, you're pondering. Do you treat your job as a sales job or a business? And you're putting some thought here. Okay, so let's start to like identify what the difference would be. Okay, and you can only give one thing so that we uh, everybody has the pain of having to think of something come up. And let me just tell you, when you play this game, it is easier to be the first or second person because the easy stuff have not been taken yet. The longer you take to answer, it gets harder. Okay, so uh, Kelly, I'm going to ask you to prove it. So, and then Celeste, you're going to have to prove it too. Okay. So, what would it look like if we had a business? Like, how, if I'm the outside looking in, okay, and you could only, let's say it's illegal to make it a business. Okay. So we're in the courthouse, and we're up, a jury of our peers, and you are, what kind of things would be evidence that it was a business? You can unmute yourself. There's not too many people today, so you can just unmute yourself and say it, and only give one thing at a time. What would evidence be that it's a business? Okay, so a couple of you have answered EIN number. So LLC, no, that's not evidence. because I'll give you a great example. I own several LLCs. One for sure. The IRS is going to say I have a business because they're taxing me and they're pulling dollars from me, right? And then if I'm using that as criteria, I got one that I have no run through money wise whatsoever, so that can't be evidence. Your job, in our job. Excuse me, tell me, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We're all in real estate, right? So what would be something that says I got a business? And voluntoolds are going to start in a minute. And I'm just pulling up the chat so I can see you guys. Okay, I'm gonna start you off with one. Okay, and I do see you guys responded, so I do recognize. Okay, so here's the thing. So Irina, maybe some of their business is more organized and has a boss, but what does the organization look like? Okay, so I'm going to give you one. If I'm sitting here and waiting, and I have a team, okay, so like when I had my license, I'm on a team, and and so we give appointments, right? We buy Zillow leads, all those kind of things, right? We give appointments. If I'm waiting around for the ISA department to call and tell me I have an appointment versus I have 5 days a week lead generation blocked on my calendar and I actually do it, which one's the sales job? Which one's is the business? And I need an answer from you guys. Yep, looks like you guys all agree. So it's if I was actively, and so if you didn't recognize some of the traits there, it was repeatable, meaning it wasn't a one-time thing, right? It was something that was planned for. It wasn't just something that like happened. It was something that I intentionally did during a certain amount of time, right? Okay, so what are some of the other things in our job in real estate that would make it a business? It's okay to say something dumb. There are no dumb answers, just dumb people. Okay, just joking. That was my brother's favorite. He's in the firefighting service, so the stuff he can say with his guys. They don't have HR, I don't think. Okay, you guys, what makes it so? Tim, so there's one honest guy on here, right? I honestly think that some of us do make it as a hobby, versus a job. So if I was gonna come in, okay, let's try to answer it this way. And I were trying the people that are on here today, I was trying to like predict who was gonna have maybe the most consistent results through the year. Okay. What are the things I would see that would make me believe that person might be more consistent in their results? Okay, so Natalie, absolutely, you got to market. Or most business, I don't know, it's all, but most businesses do some kind of marketing. Sarah, I think it is an internal, but I think you need to make it external. So, okay, lead gen, yep. So if there was recognition that in that lead gen that it was happening, I might put more of my money bet on you. Okay, we said marketing. So if there was evidence that you were marketing yourself, your team, etc., that would lead me. Yes. So Julie, I love your answer. Consistency, right? So what are some of the things you'd want to see consistency? And I'll put your W-2 hat. I got a W-2 hat job. What are the things you see consistency in somebody that works at a place? Okay, business plan, like it. Treating it like a 40-hour a week job. Yeah. So one of the consistencies is your work hours, right? And whatever they are, they're consistent work hours. Okay. I might go even as far as, and I'm not bagging on anybody on this call. Do know I'm wearing shorts under the Zoom. Okay. And most days I wear shorts because I'm in my office most days. But what about putting on your uniform? in the morning, whatever your uniform is. And if you guys haven't figured out what my uniform is, it is a black t-shirt. And we laugh because most of our coaches wear the same things. And then 50% of the time it's a hat, 50% it's not. Okay. Julie, dress for success. I agree in some ways. I have a story. I'm not going to take your 30 minutes up, but I got a story about that. What other things? W-2 job. Okay, how about this? Anybody share of hands, anybody have had a W-2 job in your lifetime? Okay, and then if you had a W-2 job, did you guys get like an annual review? Okay, all right. So did you ever get this speech or give this speech, depending on what your role was, that, hey, this year or last year you were on target, but this year you're not. Okay. And then the person responds, the person might be named Brian, responds to his boss and says, I did the same as I did last year, had the same results. And the boss, we'll call him Larry. Larry goes to Brian and says, yeah, but I had expectations that the second year you'd be better at the job than you were the first year. We have a year's worth of experience, and you should have been improving. That's literally an expectation to be on target, is that you've grown, right? So when you think about that, Celeste, yes, goals, measurable results, I love those. That is also a measure of this, right? So now here's what I'm going to ask you. So if being a realtor is, I've marketed myself, could be social media, could be emails, could be whatever, branding. I regularly have real estate conversations. Okay. I have time blocked the things that I got to do. I have regular learning, scenarios. These are all things. I want everybody to give your score for last week. Okay, now here's how the score is going to work. If you treated it like a sales job, meaning you just showed up for the presentation or to show homes or whatever, okay, and that's a 1. So sales job is a 1, business is a 10. Where are you in the scheme? Are you closer to a sales job? Last 2 weeks. Got to use the last 2 weeks. Okay. See some 6s. I see some 8s. Okay. Now, and did everybody answer 10 through a 7? Okay. Now, in front of all your friends here, I want you to now answer, what did you need to do that would have made it a business to go from whatever number you're at, towards a salesperson. And by the way, salesperson's not bad. I'm just telling you, if you want a regular check, you need to be closer to the business than you need there. Okay, so Natalie says she needed a time block. Excellent. Okay, Kelly, same thing. Okay, Arena needed to make more calls. Okay, prioritize, more consistent with SOI. Okay, now these are the kind of answers I would have given my grandmother, so she would have laid off on me. Okay, but my grandmother, they used to call her the Sarge. Okay. And so I'm not letting you guys away with just falling on your sword for that. So let's just take the versions of time block that you guys wrote, which, by the way, most of you wrote some version of that in there. Okay. When is time blocking done? Think about the word. When is it done? Okay. Okay, Tim. Yep. So Tim's on to my game. We're months in, and now Tim's figured out the game I play. So, Tim, I'll work harder on you. Okay. But it really is for us to say, oh, I needed to be better at prioritizing. I needed to be better at, time blocking. That actually, Kelly, no, not at the start of the week. Time blocking is a long-term scenario. At the beginning of the week, we might schedule, which is different than time blocking. Time blocking should include the tasks, you guys, that you got to repetitively do. We have to lead gen, right? We have to educate ourselves regularly. You can divide up the lead gen in, add to my SOI. I got to regularly add reviews to my name. So those kind of things can actually be done right now today and could be done all the way to December 31st. That's time blocking. Okay. And then scheduling. Okay. Anybody name the best, throw up your numbers, best month that you've ever had in this business? How many transactions? Best month, single month. Okay, we've got some fours. Okay, Tim and Natalie, give me your transactions. How many did you do in June? How many did you do in December? And I'm impressed. Who had December on there? That's a tough month. I've had some good Decembers. I won't ever say they're my best. Okay. All right. So now I want you to imagine, so that month that you closed 4 in the same month, okay? I want you, what did you do the 2 months prior to that month? What did your job, this thing that you do, what did it look like then? Oh, Arena, you're going old school, floor duty. There is a version of that now today. It's really answering the phone, right, or the digital part. But my dad was definitely floor duty guy. Okay, so Tim, I bet you both. Irina said prospecting, and Tim essentially said that they had more people. So and guys, 100%. We're a small group today, so we absolutely could talk this through. Um, does anybody disagree that likely before your best month that you've ever had, that you had the most real estate conversations, and or you did the things that you're supposed to do, you probably did it a little bit more, or better might be another word, than you did, that then led to the four or five transactions? Okay. Yeah, Celeste, same thing. So client appreciation, if you play that out, you end up talking to more people, in that particular case. Okay. So what is yours? Asking you a question right now. Okay. So in the next 60 days, okay, so May and June, based on your based on your efforts, how many are you predicting in June for yourselves? I want you to throw a number. What are you predicting your June to be? Okay. Well, there's more of you on here. What are you predicting your June to be? Sure, I like your number. Okay. Let me ask you guys, for those that put, a couple down, is that the number you want in June, which is one of the busiest closing, or should be one of the busiest closingest months that you have? Okay. So Tim says no. Natalie says H no. Kelly says absolutely not. Okay. So what are you going to do about it? If you're not going to be happy with that number, and if it were me, I wouldn't be happy either. Remember, our months are weighted. You guys have a little bit of weather, so your months are more weighted than mine in California are. What are you going to do? Kelly, put numbers to it. How many and when? So only Kelly's going to do something about our closing number. Okay, Tim, Need a number. Okay. All right. What did we, so just who could paraphrase if somebody said you get asked by somebody in this job that we do, who paraphrase the last 20 minutes for me, and you have less than 60 seconds of full elevator speech. What was the moral of the story? And this is an unmute, by the way. This is not a type.
I think the moral of the story is as we treat this industry as a business and do our time blocking and utilize the tools that we've been given, including marketing abilities or tools for marketing and everything, and bring it all together, it will be a business and we will be more successful and we can meet these goals.
Okay. So I've shared my calendar with you guys before, right? So based on my calendar, who thinks that I'm going to close a bunch in a couple months? And my closing would be client. Mine's, yes, I do some real estate, but it's clients, things like that. Who thinks that my calendar, and let me just share again. So this is my week's calendar. Okay. This is my next week's calendar. Okay. So who based on my calendar, my time blocking, thinks I got a chance? Okay. That's where it starts, is that I honestly just treat, like, listen, if I'm not going to be with my family, I'm not riding my mountain bike or hiking or doing those things, then I guarantee you I'm going to make my time pay for me. Because I'd rather not do anything. Unfortunately, I do have 3 young daughters, 2 through college, 1 more to go, none married. So I have a little bit of money to go before I'm in my retirement mode here. So, but what you said, Sarah, is that you actually, all of us can literally make a choice today. That's what's cool about this job, is that we could make a choice right now today to take a 180-degree turn on what we're going to do. Now, here's how I believe, and I don't know that this works for everybody, but the way I believe you do it is I believe that you schedule it. So it's like work. It's just like, when I worked in retail, well, I knew that the shift I had to work, right? I had to at least be there at open, which was, 8 o'clock. And typically for my role, I'd have to be there at least till 6, right? So I then I do the same thing as you saw on my schedule. My calendar has a work day in it. Now, sometimes I work a little bit more. Rarely do I work less. But I put my work day in there, and then I plan to show up. And then if I'm not very disciplined in those things that we all know, and guys, you all know your answers were great, that, hey, I have to add to my SOI. I got to communicate to my SOI. I need to advertise, right? And so here's, for me, the thing I'm most likely not to do is social media. Absolutely most likely not to do. Okay. So I have to, where do you suppose that's on my calendar? It's first, right? Because I'm just telling you, because I'm not active real estate, anymore, other than I do a fair amount of business for my SOI. So I should be better at it. Because I would still be getting more SOI business than I do today. But you guys got to put the things that you don't like to do, you got to put them first. And then you have to hold yourself accountable, that I'm just like, if somebody could fire me, because by the way, somebody can fire you if you don't do the things that's ultimately what you're doing. But I'd encourage you guys, the next 2 weeks, I'd go through my calendar and I would ask myself, that task, does that make this a business or does that make it a sales? Does that task make it a business or sales? Then look at your calendar and go, what things am I not regularly doing that makes this a sales job? And by the way, a sales job is fine. You're just not going to consistently get paid. right? You have to like, and I always treated, left 40 plus years of getting a check every 2 weeks when I did this. So for my comfort, my sanity, had to get it to where I was a little more comfortable getting a check on a regular basis, because fear would set in, which would cause all kinds of, other problems. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that I believe that you guys are doing, that I happen to know there could be 2,400 people on this call right now. Okay. There's 2,400 people, and you guys regularly are choosing to do what you should be doing. But don't just make it a waste of your half hour of your week. The only way this is worth it, if you guys go do stuff, the things that we talk about, you go put in place, or you're actually worse than those other, 2,350 people, or whatever the number is, right? Like, so you got to put these things into work, and don't wait. Today, you can go through and look at, for instance, at your calendar and go, okay, what things do I need to put in here on a regular basis? Now, here's what a lot of people, when you go do this, they're worried about. Well, I won't have enough spots for going to show homes or go on a listing agreement or things like that. I promise you that my calendar has looked like that for 6 years ish. And I get the most appointments, because what happens is I can literally go, hey, man, I got Wednesday at 2, or you can have Thursday, there's a 4 o'clock. That's all I got. And they take it because you have more value. It's weird. You just have more value. So know that stuff will get in there. Okay, I got 2 more minutes. I want to talk real fast about people who work all the time. Okay, so here's how thought process. Would you rather have time in the beginning of the day when you're still at home with your family, etc., or time at the end of the day when you could be at home with your family, or doing stuff, or make the work day easier? What say you? So bookends time, or make my work day easier? And if you're struggling, I'm praying for you. If none of you guys said that it's when you could have spent time with your family or doing the things that you wanted, which would be either end of the day, okay, bad. Okay, so Kelly, we're gonna have to talk, because you want to make your work day easier. Okay, here's what I do. So get rid of all the white space in the middle of those days, and just jump from one thing, and not only just scheduling, but actually in your execution of your day. Jump to, as soon as this call's over, jump to one of the tasks that you need to do. Don't wait. Don't go to the pantry. Don't warm up your coffee. Don't do any of those things. Jump to it, because then what happens is you get more time, and that's what's cool about this job, getting to do what you want to do, and make sure you do what you ought to do in as compact time as possible. Now, your day should expand if you're not doing what you ought to do. Okay, so if you need more time, then I'm sorry, you're gonna have less time on the bookends to do it. You guys have a great Easter. I appreciate you. If you still have kids that believe in the Easter Bunny, do not tell them. Do not tell them. Let them have a little bit of fun. I don't care how old you are. I'm 55, and my mom's gonna have an Easter basket for me for sure. So, all right, you guys, talk to you later.
Bye. Happy Easter.